1. Greetings, my friends. Mark Hoverson, ready to rock and roll with you. If you're watching the recording, you know you're watching the recording. If you're live, you know you're live. We're going to be interacting on my public Facebook page, crowdsourcing a bunch of our to-do lists together. You're going to have ideas. And one thing I want to encourage you to do is not be scared about the heaving waves of stuff that's going to pop into your mind over the next probably 15 days. You will literally begin to look at life different. You'll be able to see things, and your eye will look at them, and they'll zap, and you'll be like, I'm going to get that done. Raise your hand if that's already started happening just based on the free information and just based on what's been going on already. I've been getting reports of people who've been cheating on their $1 million days like I have. I've been getting a bunch of stuff done so I can really get a bunch done on my $1 million days that are coming up. So we got Leslie, we got Kathleen, we got JC, we got Jess, we got Gary, we got 50% of people that are saying they're already zapping. So I want to give you the deep base of what a $1 million all-in, all-out, full, everything you got, get it done attitude will do for you on a very grand scale. So as I was sharing before I hit record, when I got started in the business, I qualified for welfare. I had a $250 used computer. I started my business on a kitchen table. I had no connections, but I knew from 8th grade on that King Solomon, the richest man who ever lived, wrote these proverbs, and I used to classify them. So I'd read a proverb, and if it was about speech, I'd put an S by it. If it was about relationships, I'd put an R by it. And if it was about business, I'd put a B by it. Never thought I'd be a businessman or anything, but when I kicked into business, I would go to these proverbs because they were my only mentor, and I would imagine that I was in King Solomon's temple, literally the temple that he built, and University of Illinois in 1928 guesstimated the value of it was $500 billion in today's value back in 1928. But so we're talking about a $500 billion mansion of mansions. And I imagined I would sit at his throne as the wisest man who ever lived. People would travel all over the world. Kings would come and throw gold and silver and bring monkeys and myrrh and incense and everything before his feet to hear his wisdom. And I would imagine that he was whispering these proverbs directly into me. And then I would imagine what would they look like if I did them and if they manifested. So when this one came up, the hand of the diligent will rule. Here's this idea of diligence. I've studied this frickin' verse for 5 years. The idea of diligence is speed. Okay? Raise your hand if you got me. It's about speed. Diligence is fast. It's fast. It's fast. It's just all out fast. The other thing is, it's the idea of efficiency. Okay? So it doesn't mean busybody, because other places in the scripture, a busybody is looked down upon. They're busy, 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 but they're not getting anything done. So efficiency, speed, and here's a big one. Resourcefulness, which is also with efficiency. But the biggie that I just realized studying a Jewish scholar this week was he says the major word there is the determined. And I thought that was crazy. So he translates this, the hand of the determined will rule. And when you come into this $1 million day that we're getting ready to, and you have the determination that, okay, I'm not going to start it and it's not going to get done. I'm going to start it and I'm determined that it's going to get done in this $1 million day before I hit my head to the pillow, and you have this determination attitude, you will see completion of so much stuff. And when you see completion, your mind's going to open up. You're going to receive better ideas. And then here's what's crazy. I believe, this is what the verse is saying. Raise your hand if you're with me on the diligent part. If you get it, it's about speed. It's about resourcefulness. So some of you are going to look at this to-do list and you're going to say, this is impossible. Well, you're going to recruit your husband. You're going to recruit your wife. You're going to recruit your kids. You're going to recruit a handyman. You're going to recruit a cousin. You're going to recruit people, possibly, to help you nail this thing out. And that's part of the efficiency. So it's not just busy, 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 you working like a feverish bee. It's about smart work, efficiency, and then determination. I'm getting it done. There is no stopping me. I'm completely unstoppable. You can't stop me. And when you start the day with this attitude, and then you get the piece of hate mail, or you get the customer refund, or you get the annoying affiliate, your attitude is already set. I'm determined, nothing's stopping me. Raise your hand if you got me. This is huge. This is how you change the world. This is how you change your life. This is how you change every single thing in the world. Now, here's a little side note as a break from that real quick. is, let me tell you the results of this kind of thinking. And I still have lots of things to do in my life, but as I showed earlier, this is my inbox, and I became determined. So all these things you can see, these are all $37 buyers, plus the upsells don't show up, so we have about 10 to 15% of people taking the $197 upsell. These are all income. It came in throughout the day, the entire day. You can look at it. It just over and over and over. These are a batch of upsells that came through all day long. See this? That sheet is almost all sales. This day is almost all sales. They've been going on. Sales have been constantly. But here's what I want to let you know. When you become prolific, this isn't the only money I'm making. I co-own a company because I came so determined to co-own it that today I made as much in a company doing nothing whatsoever, zero, nothing whatsoever, zero, nothing, as I made with this. And this is a heaping on top. This is a prolific. It's a multiple stream of income. Raise your hand if you feel what I'm saying. You become so good at something that pretty soon when you move into prolific and you get all the crap off your back, you start to build and you build, and this is how you build an empire, my friends, and you really can do it. Now here's the other thing. In my other inbox, I have a legal form from a lawyer of a partner that I'm completely silent in, who's going to be launching a company that I have 5% stake in as a totally silent partner, simply for consulting the structure of how the company flows, how to put together the offers. And my point is this: when you get all these things I'm talking about, and you make a determined effort that everything in my life is going to get done, opportunities start crashing in on you like you would not believe it. They literally seize you. They tackle you. It becomes so amazing. But let me get back to this, and then we're going straight into the $1 Million Day. Let me get back to this thing. So we got this whole concept of the diligent, which means determined, resourceful, going for it. Now, here's the crazy part, and this is the promise for you. The hand of the diligent will rule. Here's what that means. That means you are going to be a leader. That means you are going to be a market mover. When you send something to your list, people move. It's a position of influence. This is influence in the community. It's crazy. Once I got into this productivity, all of a sudden I saw myself, and this is my small little 350-person town in North Dakota, so I'm not saying this is a huge deal, but all of a sudden when I became productive, I had the resources to fund and help design our annual Manville Days Festival. It's like Mardi Gras for my little town in North Dakota. And I realized that at a table with just a couple guys, we pretty much designed the experience of 3 days for people that would be flying in from all over the country to come back home. We designed the band. We designed the flow of the day. We designed everything. We literally, in a sense, ruled. And it didn't mean like rule like oppressive. It meant rule that you will become the influencer over how your company moves. You will be the influence over, not just over your kids, but over other people's kids and over entire companies. You will structure and design offers and ideas, and my gosh, it gets crazy. But here's the thing: it's a result of the determined, the diligent, the resourceful attitude, where you put your hand to that, and then you have rulership, which is freedom. It's beautiful. Raise your hand if you're with me on the rulership part. This is you're a culture bearer. You create the culture. What is the church programs going to look like over the next 6 months? They're asking you because you can get stuff done. You are in the market. You are rubbing, face to face with people, and you're the one to go to find out how to do things. You become that person, and all of a sudden the influence is just incredible. It becomes crazy. Now, next part. But the hand of the slothful. The idea of sloth is just slow, just kind of putting it off. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It just means kind of slow. Raise your hand if you're with me on slothful. It just means, yeah, I know what to do. I'm just, tomorrow and later, and, somebody else will do it maybe, or I don't know, I can't do it, low self-esteem, all these stupid things. But the hand of the slothful will be put to forced labor. And in my mind, when I would imagine the movie of this verse happening for my life, I imagine if I didn't take action on ideas that came into my head, with everything I had, for me, forced labor meant a job. It meant, and I literally, before I was an entrepreneur, I would have to raise my hand as an adult with a child, raise my hand and ask my supervisor if I could go to the bathroom. Okay? I can barely imagine that this was my life, but it actually was. I was a married man raising my hand, asking if I could go to the bathroom. They would give us 10-minute little breaks, and they'd say, be back in your chair if you're not back. Oh my gosh, I had the worst jobs in the world. But for me, forced labor meant living under somebody else's schedule, only having 2 weeks of vacation, having a ceiling on my income, and having somebody else dictate my time, my resources. Almost forced labor is the idea of slavery. Okay, that's the idea. In America, slavery not so much, but trapped. Trapped, yes. Trapped, showing up to a place you don't want to be, doing a thing you don't want to do with people you don't really care to be with. It's a better than slavery, but gosh, it is bad. Raise your hand if you're with me on this stuff, if you're feeling me. So here's what's at stake. What's at stake is literally your legacy, your whole legacy, your whole existence of day-to-day, how you function, how people respect you. When you're a ruler, you can walk into a room, and it's not that everybody's going to worship you and glorify you, but the respect that you get and that you deserve because you're so diligent, and through your diligence you collect so much wisdom that you're an outpost for people. People will come to you from all over. I mean, it's thrilling stuff. So I believe that this kind of stuff was going to happen into my life. And I believe tonight and in the next 12, 15 days, this kind of stuff and breakthrough, getting past procrastination, moving into productivity, getting everything done with productivity, and then moving into prolific, where you've got multiple streams of income hitting, you've got multiple projects, cool partners, you're getting invited all over the place, ideas are bumping, you have an idea, you execute it so fast. Just this little journal thing is a 5-figure thought I had a week ago. It was a thought, and it creates a quick 5 figures. I mean, raise your hand if you're with me on just the potential, and then I'm done, and we're going right into it. All right. So I love you guys. I'm getting a lot of love, a lot of interaction. I appreciate it. So, without further ado, this is how this party is going to go down. Okay, I'm not going to save that. I'm going to go into the Be Prolific. Now, here's how this is going to go. You're going to have about 3 days. You're going to have up to 3 days to get your $1 Million Days done. What I'm going to do right now is take you through kind of a jogger list of a bunch of stuff, example, case studies from, we have a lot of people on here that are going to share as well from the public page here in a minute. But inside the bonus page, right down at the very bottom, so there's the Super Productivity Secrets. At the very bottom, we have our graduation link down there, but it says, report your completed results at the link below. Please note, after your first $1 Million Day, report to this link. Then after your second $1 Million Day, come back to the same link and report again. And then your third $1 Million Day, come back and report a third time. But before I go through the exhaustive list, I am going to share a couple things. My wife and I are going to share a couple things for our $1 Million Days coming up over the next 12 to 15 days. So raise your hand if you want to hear from Shani and I. And I want you to be jotting down. Everybody should have a piece of paper, because we might give you some ideas to add onto your list. And don't be scared of your list. Seriously, don't be scared of that thing saying, oh, it's going to get too big. I shouldn't set this up. I'm setting myself up for failure. Literally, I want your mind to be trained to attack every undone thing possible and learn how to just metabolize it and eliminate it and execute it and get done. And you're going to live in a whole different plane. So, raise your hand if you want to hear from Shani and I. She came up to me at supper, and she was like, Mark, I got my list going, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited, and she started cheating on her list already. So, honey, we've got enough love for you to come on out. So, honey, buddy. All right. So, Shani's making a rare appearance. So, Shani's got her Solomon CEO journal that, she has hers, I have mine, Isaac has his, we all have our journals. But, Shani, why don't you just share with us, and get your own little journals. But this is from Shani, more from like a household perspective. Maybe there's some business stuff in here. But rock and roll with a quick minute of it. I'll share a few things, and then we're going to start crowdsourcing, going through the exhaustive list together, and we're going to get a lot of ideas bubbling. So Shani.
Okay, some of the shorter ones, organize and clean the garages.
Okay, now organize and clean the garage. How long has that been on your mind? Because when we report, just so you know, in the reporting section, you're going to see this link, okay? And I'm hoping my screen is showing. I believe it is, right? Okay, it is. At the very bottom here, we're going to go through a health list, and it'll say scheduled chiropractor session and how long it's been on your mind for 5 months. We're going to take up the accumulative, and I think this group is going to achieve more than 500 years worth of crap that we're going to do as a community together very soon. So, okay, organize and clean garages, how many months?
3 months.